Hey guys, this is the little video series called Shooting the Shit with Smitty. This will be episode or number one. Had a couple questions, so we'll get to those. But first, I want to apologize. I said I would get this out on the 15th. I had the flu. I'm finally getting over it. I'm still kind of kicking parts of it a little bit. It was nasty shit, we'll just say. And not fun at all. And actually, there was a tournament at Gauntlet Games in Lincoln, Nebraska yesterday that I was really looking forward to going to. I went to my first tournament there. The last one they had, I can't remember. It's been a few months ago. I think it was actually right before winter. Went over there and had a really great time, playing some games. Sean Wahoo Warrior, I saw today that he posted a video of that tournament because he was there. So if you're interested in how that tournament went, check out his video. I haven't looked at it yet, but I definitely will because I want to see what I missed. I just didn't feel like possibly exposing people to what I had, and then plus it's almost a 2-hour one-way drive for me, so I just wasn't feeling quite up to it to go. Although I'm kind of sad I missed it, but enough of that. So what we'll do with this little episode, I think, is we'll kind of go over the questions that I had, and at the end, I think I'll just pick like a product or a book or something that I'm interested in to kind of share with you guys, in case you want to look at it too, and we'll just kind of play it by ear. And this is just for the hell of it, so we don't really have to worry about a structure of it, which we don't have structure in my other videos, so why would we start with this, right? So, first question is from Heresy Productions, Palmer. Thank you, Palmer, for the question. His question was, what was the first tabletop war game you played, and when and how did you get into it? So, my story of wargaming is kind of broken up into several parts. How I first found wargaming is I was probably 10, and my mom worked at the public library in the town where I live, and so during the summer, since we lived basically out in the country at that point in time, we weren't trusted to be by ourselves, myself and my little sister, out on the farm while mom and dad were working in town, their jobs other than what they did farming wise. So we spent a lot of time at the library and running around downtown and finding stuff to do and entertain ourselves and swimming and all that fun stuff. So when I spent my time at the library, I would always cruise the history book aisle because I'm a big history fan. I always have been, for whatever reason, even when I was a little kid. And then what I also was doing one day is I was cruising the section of hobbies, just to find something hobby-wise that I was interested in. I think is more than what it was, or that might have been the only section that I hadn't checked out besides the little kids section. It's hard to say. I can't remember. It's been forever ago. But somehow I came across this book, and until recently, probably within the last few weeks, I had forgotten what the name of the book was. I could picture the cover of the book, but I actually came across it by accident in a post somebody had put on, I think, the miniatures page .com for a list of books for sale, and for whatever reason I just clicked on it to check it out, and one of the book titles caught my attention, and so I Googled it, and sure enough, it was the book, and that book was actually called, or is called, Battles with Model Soldiers, and it's actually by Donald Featherstone. So, I mean, there's a famous name in wargaming, right? So, didn't even know it, but I checked that book out religiously, and I was the only person that had checked that book out for several years, and had checked it out, for probably, I think they should have just gave me the damn book, because as much as I had it. And unfortunately, the book, shortly after I stopped checking it out, they sold it, and like probably for freaking 10 cents, is what they probably sold the damn thing for. But anyway, that book, if I remember right, there was several different periods that they covered, and they kind of went over the basics of wargaming, and there was some basic rules in there. And then in the back there was a list of manufacturers, miniatures companies, and so that was kind of my first step. And at that point in time, I was really interested in the American Civil War. So what I did is I went in the back of the book, because this was all pre-internet days, and I wrote several different companies, to get catalogs or whatever from them of their products, and I had no idea about scale or anything. So I got some GHQ, micro armor catalogs, not even knowing what the heck it was, and I got one catalog, and it's stress. It's a stretch to say it's a catalog because it was a piece of paper maybe that big with products and some really black and white, very basic images of miniatures, front and back, stapled together, very, very, very basic. And it was all Civil War stuff. So I actually ordered some Civil War figures off of there. I still have them, actually upstairs, tucked away, and I should break them out sometime, but just for nostalgia. I never did paint them. But I remember playing on the floor and on the table, really basic D6 game with that. So that was my first foray into wargaming. From there, I was a huge G.I. Joe, the 3.5 or 3.25 inch figures when I was a kid. So I went from playing with probably their 15 mil. Maybe even 20 mil Civil War pewter guys to playing war games with my GI Joes and just making up my own rules based on a D6, 5 and 6 hits and a 5 and 6 kills the guy. So it kind of went to that, and then as I got older, kind of got away from wargaming because I was the only one that was doing it. Friends weren't, my dad wasn't into it, and so we kind of went into the role gaming stage, which I think a lot of war gamers have gone through too. So through junior high and high school, a lot of my free time and days were spent with buddies playing role-playing games. And one of my friends actually created his own role-playing universe and game, and we spent hours and hours playing that thing. As far as getting back into the hobby, it came several years later. Probably I was late 20s, early 30s, and it was just something I was cruising the internet looking for hobbies, and it started out with miniature models, like dioramas that I wanted to do, and I thought, this would be really cool if I could do this and then play games with them, and then I found miniature wargaming. And at that point in time, I had switched from American Civil War to the Vietnam era. For whatever reason, that era really interests me. So my first official war game that I ever purchased was called F&G by 2 Hour War Games. This is a platoon level, basically, individual soldier game. It's a really good game. There's actually a second version of this now, and actually Darby Eccles, a really nice guy, he's working on I think he's working on the third and final version of this as we speak. I actually play tested a supplement for this a while back, and it hasn't come out. Hopefully they can put that out. So I got the 20 millimeter. Vietnam Wargaming was my official start after a long hiatus from wargaming. So that's how I got into it, and I would say that's my official first wargaming game. So that's a long drawn out answer to your question, but thanks, Palmer, for the question. I appreciate it. The second question was from British Legion, Nick. And Nick asked, other than Dungeon Saga, what miniature board game would you love to own? And that's a really good question. I actually got to finally play a couple games of Dungeon Saga with my youngest nephew, and he picked up the game really quick. He's 12, or excuse me, 11. So he did pick it up quick. We had a good time. Hopefully we get to play some more. But to answer your question, Nick, we'll go with two answers on this. There's one game that I'm really looking forward to. It's on Kickstarter right now, and I did back it, and that is Manic's The Walking Dead. I think it's All Out War. So I'm really looking forward to getting that. It'll be a while yet because it's still on the Kickstarter stage. The Walking Dead is a show. It's probably about the only show that I watch religiously, and so I look forward to playing that game. One game that I've never played or don't really know a whole lot about that really piques my interest that I would love to play is Blood Bowl. It just sounds like a cool game. So that would be the board game that I don't have or am not purchasing that I would like to own and play. Thanks, Nick, for that. I guess one thing before we get to the book that I'll show you guys is continue with questions. Appreciate it. One of my goals is to start putting out more content for you guys, so you guys are a little bit more entertained, which means I need to do more hobby stuff. I've slacked at it really bad, so that is my goal. Whether I do it or not, we'll find out. But I've never told anybody out here my first name. My first name is Mark. And, you can call me Smitty, you can call me Mark, whatever. I've been called probably everything in the book, so whatever the case is. But anyway, that's it for that part of shooting the shit with Smitty. So, I don't want to call this a product review. This is just stuff that I want to share with you guys, I guess. So it's going to be a random thing and various different things, but one book that I think would be really good is a good source book for folks that are doing World War II wargaming. It's the Army Service Forces Catalog. It's Government Issue Collector's Guide, and this one is for U.S. Army European Theater of Operations. It's by Henry Henri Paul in James, and I'll put the title down below in the subject, or down below the notes here. But what this is, and what it's intended for, is it is a collector's guide if you want to collect authentic uniforms of World War II. Now, what I use this for, it goes all the way down to insignias in the front. It goes uniforms. Here's like the sweater, belts, suspenders, gloves. We're looking at different boots, helmets, goggles, entrenching tools. I'm skipping a lot of this because we're not going to do it page by page. But we're looking at binoculars, flashlights, sidearms, grenades. It goes into typewriters, paperwork, tankers, armored troops, equipment, airborne carts and stuff that they had, winter gear, some of the female uniforms. But what I use this for, it's a good reference. Here's some Lucky Strikes and cigarettes and army rations too. It's a good reference for uniforms on what colors, and if you have something that's like, well, a piece of equipment, it's like, well, what the hell is that, and what color would it be? And this is a good book. I actually found this a long time ago in a bargain bin at, I think, Barnes & Noble maybe. and I've used it quite a bit for different ideas. Here's medical supplies and what the boxes look like, and then Army publications. But if you find this book and find it at a reasonable price, it would be a good thing to put on your desk for reference. And I think they have one. I haven't looked, but I think they have one for Pacific Theater. I think they even have a German one. There's different ones, but if you're interested in that, go check it out. It's really it's a good book. It's a good reference book. It sits on my shelf. I haven't really referred to it a whole lot lately, but definitely worth checking out. So that's it. And if you have any other questions or anything else you want to know, feedback, whatever the case is, go ahead and leave it below. And then we're going to shoot for the 15th of March for the next one of these. And I'm just going to put this up without an intro. I'm going to work on an intro to make it a little more snazzy, I guess. So that's it. So as normal, take care of each other, have fun gaming, be supportive, and take care. See you guys.